All right, so we're in downtown Rialto, and what I hear is one of the best kept secrets in Rialto. So Rich, tell us a little bit about where we're at.
Well, you're at the Rialto Historical Society Museum, and as you characterize it, the best kept secret in Rialto. People drive up and down Riverside Avenue all day long and don't realize there's a fantastic little museum here. As you walk in the museum, the first thing you see is an 1850s living room. Yeah. There's a parlor. Back a little bit farther down the way, there is a bedroom, a kitchen, and even a bit of a doctor's office. Oh. So you get to see the stuff. You get to see the stuff we have in the museum, but you get to see it in context. You get to see the way it was when it was in use back in the 1850s or thereabout.
You know, it's interesting because when you walk in, I think one of the first impressions I had was the wallpaper and the dark, I mean, really dark colors on the wall.
But it suits the period and the time, and it sets a framework for the pieces that you see here.
Now, when we say period in time, what time capsule are we trying to to display?
Well, like I said, anything from about the 1850s.
Okay.
On through the early 1900s.
Okay.
And that kind of time frame is what we have here.
Okay. And where did, if you don't mind me asking, where did all the pieces that we see here, where do they all come from?
Well, some have been donated. Some have been, we bought a few things, and people have some things that we have on loan here. For example, that piano over there was donated by Steve West. It's an 1850s box grand piano.
And so this is a bedroom, obviously, huh?
Obviously, this is a bedroom. And the centerpiece of the bedroom, of course, is this is a shepherd's bed. Now, you notice the size of the bed.
Yeah.
Well, this is actually a bed for two people.
Oh, really?
So you had to be very friendly back then. But this is this kind of bed. And here's another interesting little thing. You ever heard the story, heard the old saying, sleep tight?
Yes.
Here's where it came from. If you look at down the bed, the rope. Now, they wouldn't sleep on the rope. They would put some kind of pad stuff with horsehair or straw or something over this.
Okay.
But every once in a while, this would stretch and get loose, and they'd have to pull it up tight. So that's where you get the old saying, sleep tight. Now, these quilts actually were a bit of a family history.
Okay.
Because what women would do is they would be making dresses and shirts and so forth for their family. Little scraps of the material would be thrown into a box and just collected. After a while, they'd have, when this box got filled up and got stuffed with all these little things, they would take them out and sew them into a quilt. Wow. And the quilt would actually reflect the history of the family. You can see here's the material from the dress that I made for the daughter for Easter. Here's a shirt I made for my husband. Here's the different things like this. So you can see the kind of a patchwork of the family's history that's put into those quilts.
You know, it's funny. Anytime we'll have you turn around here, anytime I look at a dresser or something that clothing goes in back then, I always think it's so small. Yeah. And yet, this is like a third of the size of my dresser, which I guess I'm embarrassed to say. I shouldn't probably say that out loud.
Well, back then I would imagine that they didn't have as many clothes as we do today.
Yes.
I mean, they didn't have a full closet of clothes. They would have, this would fit a husband and wife, and maybe even the whole family could have their stuff in there because they had fewer clothes. Well, of course, being handmade, yeah, the wife would have to make a lot of those clothes. So they made, as they were needed, the clothes were made. This is a library. People come in, and there's a lot of great stuff in the library. Here's a collection of cameras. These came from Charlie McLaughlin, who was a photographer in town for many years, and a lot of the photographs up around the walls and so forth, the photographs that Charlie took. A lot of maps that go back to like 1887 and so forth, that far back, some of the early, very early maps of this area. We have a whole collection of those maps. We have genealogical information about a lot of the old pioneering families from Rialto. We've got a collection of family histories and things like that in here.
Wow.
So we've got a lot of stuff that we can do. In fact, just the other day, there was a woman that came in that was from one of the pioneering families, and her mother had been adopted. And among the collection of stuff we have about that family, we had the adoption papers for her mother, which she had never seen.
That is unbelievable.
So,
wow.
So there are some very interesting things here that people are very excited to come and see and find out. And it's this museum. That's what I said. It's the best kept secret in Rialto. Dan Patch. Dan Patch was a pacer that pulled a sulky. Up in the corner up there, it says Dan Patch 1.55. That's the record that Dan Patch set for the mile in Minnesota State Fairgrounds in 1906.
like you said, a story in each one of these labels.
All these labels are, I mean, stories for every one of these labels. You go through the whole thing.
So what do we have in here? What's another?
Well, this is our doctor's office.
Oh, this is the doctor's office. Oh, no kidding. This is the examination table, huh?
Yep. This is the examination table. You notice the date here. This is 1933.
Yeah.
This is a physician's prescription record.
Oh, really? Wow.
Okay, 1933.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the person that came in. There's the ailment, but notice what he prescribed for them.
Whiskey?
Yeah.
Whiskey? Whoa!
Now, 1933, what was happening in 1933?
Prohibition.
Prohibition.
Wow.
So one of the only ways you could legally get whiskey at that time
Was to come see a doctor.
to get medical prescription. Well, that is what used to be the top of the lampposts up and down the Rialto, Riverside Avenue. And you can see how this bridge actually looked. There's a painting, not a painting, but there's a picture on the wall on the front of the church. You can actually see what this looked like as a lamppost. In fact, that's the church here. You can see that's this church that the lamppost in front of.
Are these school students? Like they're?
Oh, these are classroom pictures from some of the early classrooms, and we have the names of a lot of the students and so forth.
Wow.
And we have. On this board here, we've got a lot of other pictures of, these are some graduation pictures from students that graduated from, this was San Bernardino High School.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was before they had any high schools in Rialto.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had to go to San Bernardino High School.
Wow, this is very cool. And on the other side of the room right here, I see military awards and uniforms and hats. And what do we have here?
We do have some uniforms over there that are from actual soldiers from Rialto.
Oh, okay, right here in this case right here.
Wow. Yeah, this is World War I Army uniform. There's no charge for coming here. It's open on Wednesdays from 2 to 4 in the afternoon and on Saturdays from 10 to 2. Mm-hmm. And we enjoy it. We also have an open invitation to the school kids of Rialto. For any teacher that'd like to come through with a tour of the museum, we have an open invitation for students to come and see the museum.
So if a school around the area wanted to stop on by, what number would they call to set up a tour?
Well, they could call our number here, which is 875-1750.
909 area code.
909 area code. And we'd be glad to arrange a tour. We had a tour from some students about a week or so ago. We had a tour that came through. And I think it's great. It's one of the areas that I think is lacking in terms of the history that the kids get is local history.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you coming by.
You bet. Thank you. Let's not make this the best kept secret. You heard about it, so get out here, come on down. This is incredible. And again, another unique spot only here in the Inland Empire, only in Rialto.